this series that we're doing here is just me going into a property. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Obviously, we're managing it. And then I'm going to give some tips. I'm going to be talking about different things that I would and would not do. So this is a really, really nice, what I call like feature shot. You walk in, you see this. So I actually wonder whether they painted the counter. Yeah, they painted the counter. I can actually see the brush marks. To me, it's a little sloppy. I don't want to be too fussy. Like I can see, it's just really inconsistent, right? Kind of looks like a 5-year-old did it. We've got bars on the windows. Are these removable? They don't look like they are. Now, does the owner have to put a fence in? No, it's not a swimming pool. Should they put a fence in? Yes, right? Or this is only going to attract adults. It's the owner's decision, but if you own this property and it is a rental property because you want to attract a family, and the family unit, to me, is the most stable that you're going to get. All right, we have another property walkthrough for you guys. Super excited. This series that we're doing here is just me going into a property. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Obviously, we're managing it. And then I'm going to give some tips. So picture whether you're going to be renting it, you're going to be flipping it. I'm going to be talking about different things that I would and would not do. Let's, however, talk about what we see here, which is grass. And this property is already showing. I will say that we are not responsible for the grass as a management company because we do give our investors the option whether they want to cut the grass or not. I believe this person might be out of town. Maybe they hired somebody. But if I'm a tenant walking in here, the first thing I'm thinking of is irresponsible landlord. Let's go inside and we'll check the inside out. All right, so we have an unusual layout, but this is what they would call a split. So we got, it might even be a 4-way split where you have like one part here, one part here, one part there, although it's kind of like a miniature, right? So I guess this would be classified as your living room. Recently renovated. We've got the TV brackets here. We've got some security cameras. I will say security cameras probably put in by the owner. Good for vacant. Definitely can't have them there when you're going to have a tenant in here. I know if I were a tenant, I wouldn't want my landlord having cameras, and plus it's an invasion, severe invasion of privacy. However, I will say this property does come with an alarm. So as a landlord, if you're going to be providing an alarm, there's 2 things that you want to think about. Number 1, who's going to be paying for the alarm? Number 2, who's going to be paying if the tenant accidentally sets off the alarm and a security company or the police have to come? At least here in Canada, whenever that happens, the owner usually gets hit with a surcharge. It could be $100, $200 for every single false alarm that happens. So what I will say then is if you happen to have an alarm, and we have a big alarm panel here, if you happen to have an alarm, what you want to do is make sure that if you're going to include it, then you're including it in the rent, but maybe the tenant is going to be paying for the monitoring. And there, if you don't own the alarm and it's on some kind of purchase plan or things like that, and you have to build it in, just check your contract and see if there's going to be those surcharges. Okay. So coat closet, I'm looking around, the painting is good. It shows really, really well. Probably we have a garage here, so I'll just check that out. I don't know if I can turn on a light. I mean, pretty standard. What I will say is though, we've got just some things that have to be put away, right? We've got a garden hose, which is fine, but the garden hose might disappear, right? We've got some snow shovels, a bucket, garden hose. Over here, again, we've got, I don't know what this thing is. Looks like closet doors maybe from something, and a push mower. So this is really interesting because if you're a landlord, are you providing this or are you not? Now, this happens to be here, at least here in Manitoba, because this piece of equipment was here during the showing. Believe it or not, in Manitoba, very, very tough rental market with respect to whatever we're doing for regulations. If something is here during the showing, it's actually expected to be included in the lease. Okay, so if this was a gas lawnmower, electric lawnmower, not just I mean, pretty nice push mower actually, then this has to come with the lease. And therefore, if you're going to include it with the lease, then it has to be on the lease. So we as property managers, now that I've seen this, have to speak to the owner and say, are you including this or are you not? I'm guessing that this is probably the owner's friend's lawnmower, and maybe that's who's supposed to be cutting the grass here. That's my guess. But again, well, I'll get my team to check on that. If there is something here, then as you're showing it, you have to specify to the tenants, this is not included, this will not be here. Now, the biggest example that I can give of this is we actually had a tenant a few years ago, and there were these old washer and dryers in the basement, just a set, okay? And because that was there when they moved in, and the owner wasn't intending on it, it was just old, it never really worked. We went to court, and the court actually ordered that the owner had to pay for a brand new set to be put in there because it was expected, because they viewed it during the showing, then it had to be included on the lease. So just be careful on that. So let's go ahead inside and we'll see the rest of the house. All right. So again, this is that split that we're talking about. So this is really, really nice. We've got glass. It looks like it's to code. In Manitoba here, we have to have 42 inches, obviously. So this is a really, really nice, what I call like feature shot. You walk in, you see this. So again, I'm thinking that the price, we had this property up for, I think we just had to lower it by $200 or $300, but I mean, it's in a fairly new area. You've got these nice features here and everything looks really good. Now, when we look here, I guess technically I'm standing in the dining room, and then over there we would have the kitchen. So let's do the dining room first. Like, there's not much on this property walkthrough that I have to actually criticize. I felt a little soft spot on the floor here, but I don't think it's anything to really be concerned about. I mean, this is dated, but I don't think it's going to prevent anybody from renting here. Although, let me point out this, okay? This probably came with the house, unless that's just my taste, but I actually personally think this is really dated. We look at this one here, it kind of matches, right? However, if I go into the kitchen here, what's different here? Well, this is modern, and this is modern. Now, it's not $500. You can tell that it's probably from the Home Depot kind of contractor pack, but still, okay? So if it were me and I'm already renovating this, I probably would have changed out that dining room. Now, when you think about going up these stairs and you see everything with the glass and everything, you see stainless steel, nice white cabinets, and then you look at that dining room chandelier again, it doesn't match, right? So when you're talking about rentals, all of the little things have to all come together in order for that feeling. Like, this is kind of like sales, right? And sales is all about emotion. So if you're an investor and you're already doing these renovations, you got to think, what feeling do I want to portray or have the tenant feel when they first walk in through that door? And this doesn't match what's over here. All right, so let's move into the kitchen here. Got laminate countertops. Tell you the truth, there's some kind of coating on here. I actually wonder whether they painted the counter. I mean, yeah, they painted the counter. I can actually see the brush marks. And I can see, the painting here. So, I mean, to me, it's a little sloppy. I don't want to be too fussy, but I also don't want to use the word, it's only a rental, right? So to me, if you're going to be doing this properly, you would spray it, you wouldn't brush it on. Like, I can see it's just really inconsistent, right? Kind of looks like a 5-year-old did it, And then if I'm doing this, and you can see how the caulking, I either would have put some tape down, or for what it costs, since you're here already, I would have put the caulk on after. Some nice white caulk on top of this. Then it's not so obvious it's been painted. But I definitely wouldn't paint the counter. I don't know what it looked like before. Probably would have been pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, this to me is probably the worst part of what I've seen in the kitchen. So the other thing that I also see in a lot of these retrofits, and again, I think 2 videos ago, I talked about painting the kitchen cabinets and people that come in and they buy their little Home Depot handles. This is a classic example. Now, this looks like real wood. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, like who's taking that out later, right? Painted cabinets. We've got dripping paint all over here, but those are the type of details that just aren't great, right? I mean, if you're going to do this, spray it maybe. Like it looks okay. It looks like white thermofoil cabinets. Definitely better than just painting plywood cabinets, but you gotta make a little bit more effort, right? Okay. Stainless steel and black appliances. The top looks fine. Take a look at the fridge here. The handle swings properly, so that's fine. There's a couple of ice packs in here. So these are just small details that are going to have to be taken care of when the person moves in. So I'm already thinking ahead to my team. You know, let's say that we get somebody literally, like today is, I think, Wednesday. Let's say somebody wants to move in for the weekend. They apply today. They get approved. They want to move in on the weekend. There's all these water bottles. There's pop cans. Somebody's going to have to come in here and do a last minute cleaning, and it's going to be rushed. But I'm here to talk about actual structure. So I wouldn't change anything in the kitchen, living room, dining room, and the entry. I definitely would have changed out this chandelier. And if you guys agree with me, like, let me know in the comments. Okay, so the other thing that I like to do, and if we look at all of the switches here, okay, got nice white paint, and we've got the beige, older type of plug covers. To me, these plugs, I would have changed them over to what they call Decora, the square ones. I think a box, I mean, now with tariffs and everything else at Home Depot, it might be 20, 25 bucks, but a box of 10 of the Decora used to be about $13, $14. So let's say that it's 25 for a box of 10. And you already have all of these plug covers off because you have to paint. At least I hope they did that. Change them over to white. It's modern. It matches with whatever is going on in the kitchen. This stuff makes it look like somebody put a coat of paint over an old house. And I mean, with all the glass and everything, it's those tiny little details. How much are these plate covers? I think they're like 10 cents each. Okay, so let's go down the hallway here. I mean, if we're going to stick with that theme, you could have painted this or just bought a new cover, right? I mean, doorbells are about $25. And then we've got a couple of bedrooms here. I guess we'll go into the master bedroom first. So we have a fairly good sized bedroom, and I do see a closet and a master bath. What do we have here? We've got older windows. And how do I open this? So this one doesn't look like it can be opened, and yet there's a screen here. I don't even know if the screen belongs on this side. And then we have a screen on this side. Maybe that window was never intended to be open, and then you've got the hardware here, so that's fine. I mean, the windows are dirty. See that there's a deck outside. Again, the switch covers. There's no lights in here, so probably one of these switches over there controls around where the bed would be, one of these switches, which is typical for your 1960s home. We have a walk-in closet here. And I mean, this is being really fussy for me, right? I mean, this is the original. To me, it looks weird, but maybe they left it on purpose to do it that way. But maybe that's a taste thing. Attic, light bulb. I mean, probably for what it's worth, I might put a board up here on this closet just so you have extra storage. Obviously, it's meant to be there. You can see that this is one of those brackets you can screw through here. I mean, it's a closet. I wouldn't really change anything in here. And then let's go into the master bath. Again, older style. The sink's a little bit cracked. The tub over here looks good. It's been recalked. So I actually wouldn't do anything in here. So this looks good. A little bit weird to have a fluorescent fixture in the ceiling in a bathroom, but it is what it is. And I always like to look in the medicine cabinets, and this looks clean as well. So that is fine. All right. Now let's go over to the other bedroom. So smaller bedroom. So I'm already thinking, what are we going to do for the advertising and the marketing copy? But yeah, hope you guys don't find this too boring, but there's not a lot that I can really criticize here. This is practically rent ready. Just a few of those decisions. Now, I will say that I see some what I call bleeding here, okay? Not real blood. I mean, hopefully never. But you can kind of see how the darkness of probably what was the same that we have over there, the original doors and wood. So then I'm also thinking, for any of you who are watching this, I want to paint the doors to make it look more modern. Okay, fine. If you're going to do that, please take the door handles off. Okay, let's see here. Door handles have 2 screws, 1, 2, and now somebody has, I mean, you can even see the brush marks here, right? Like total amateur job. If you're going to be painting these old varnished doors, you have to sand them. You have to take the the hardware off and then roll it on if you have to, okay? And then maybe sand between coats. When I say bleeding through, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but they need at least another coat of paint here, because you can see here they probably did 2 rollers full and this was only 1. Maybe they ran out of paint. Again, it's all those little things that will not have this thing renting as it should. Can you imagine if they, again, this is now laziness, right? We've got white trim, a half white door. We've got a closet that's original. They kind of stopped and said, oh, I ran out of time, whatever. And then you have these nice older, oak stained windows. So you kind of have to think, you have to make a decision. You're either going to go with oak everywhere or you're going to change this out. Clearly they decided to go white everywhere, which I probably would have done too, but you got to go all the way and paint this too. And same thing with these guys, right? Or go to Home Depot. Hopefully this would be a standard size, and buy some nicer ones or some mirrored ones, okay? Mirrored closet doors in this room, I'm going to go 50-50 on that. Now, if this was a flip, I'd do a mirrored door. Why? Because it's a smaller room and mirrors are going to make it appear larger. If it's a rental, I wouldn't go with a mirrored, because as soon as, this is probably a child's room, about 9 feet by 9.5 feet, thereabouts. If you have a mirrored door here and they have a temper tantrum, there's going to be a crack on move out day. And then what are you going to do? Yes, you can take it out of the security deposit, but I wouldn't put a mirrored door in a rental if I had a choice. Okay. All right, let's go into the bathroom and see what we have here. So, same thing. I mean, again, I don't want to insult anybody, but it's amateur hour. I can even see on the back set here, I don't know if you can see this, but there's just tons of paint all over this. Yeah, so we have another medicine cabinet here. Soap. Painted, paint drips. It's really weird to have these. I don't know, maybe it was made that way or they dropped the ceiling down. I kind of wonder whether that's going to trap moisture. The other thing, so we've got the fan. One of my tips and tricks when you have a light switch here and a separate fan switch is if they forget to turn it on, the mirror's going to fog up. You're going to get tons of moisture in here, and that's going to create mold. To me, I would have somebody wire in. Again, it's when you pull everything off and it's already open, how much extra time does it really take? Have the fan hardwired into the switch so that when the light turns on, the fan turns on. You're not paying for the electricity anyways, at least in a single family home like this, the tenants are, and it's going to ensure that they're not going to call you later and say, hey, there's moisture and there's mold in my bathroom and there's all these yellow marks on the ceiling. You come here and you realize that they haven't even turned on the fan. Okay, so those are some of the other little things I would do. The other thing is, you could leave this, but they're not going to use the liner because they don't know if it's used or not. So I don't even know if I would bother buying a liner if you are even thinking of that. Toilet looks okay. Flooring looks new. I think they did actually do a recent reno here. It's just not done that great. Okay. All right, let's go to what they call in these types of splits a basement. All right, so we have, again, you can see now that I'm getting a feel for this renovation, they have the same flooring throughout, so that clearly that's new. They use the same paint on everything, and then they changed certain things. I mean, this probably was original. You know, probably original. You can see because this is what the four-way split. That's why you have the bigger windows. So that's a very, very nice feature. Okay. We've got an actual real fireplace. What I will say about this is check your insurance. Okay. Some insurance companies want you to disclose that there's an actual working wood burning fireplace and make you pay extra for it. And if you think you're going to be clever and not disclose that, and something happens, so picture I always say, and my business coach says, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, you don't disclose this to save $100 and $200 a year on your insurance. The tenant uses it. Something happens, could be their fault, maybe not. They die in a fire, and the estate sues you, and half the house burns down. Okay, so you've got a $300,000 rebuild, and you've got a $2 million liability lawsuit against you. And the insurance company denies your claim because you were too cheap and you wanted to hide the fact that you had a wood burning fireplace. I actually have seen some insurance companies that say, we're not insuring you unless you can guarantee to us that the tenant won't be using the wood burning appliance. Okay. That could be wood stoves. So when I'm walking through things, this is definitely, while it's really nice and we can say, hey, wood burning fireplace, we want the owner to make sure that they're checking with their insurance that this is even acceptable. Okay. Same thing, beige switches, older windows. I see that we have another bathroom down here and a little bit of a closet. We have a closet here because we have a door that goes out to the back. Oh, we've got like a bonus area here. All right. This is like a really weird layout. All right, follow me here. We've got what they call a 3-piece bath. So again, right now you see how really old this stuff looks. I don't know. I'm not advocating to spend $5,000 or $10,000 more, but maybe I am. Because if you're doing this as a burr and you're putting that kind of effort into it, you're going to get it back on the appraisal. So sharpen up your pencils. Go to Home Depot and buy an LED light fixture. I guarantee when these things go out, they're probably specialty bulbs. You're going to get a call from the tenant, and the tenant's going to go, I don't know how to change my bulbs. Or maybe it's a midnight call and your electrician comes out here, and then you're going to get billed for $200 for that. Meanwhile, how much is an LED fixture? $75. Just get it changed, right? If the electrician is already here and you've got the boxes of light switches and you've got everything else, then go ahead and do it. And speaking of which, what do we have right here? A regular plug. Now, I'm not going to go all the way upstairs and show you what was up there, but I did notice, oh, there's a white square Decora plug here. And upstairs, they had the proper GFCI, right? Ground fault circuit interrupter switch. It's code in this house. I don't know why this doesn't have it, so we're going to have to let the owner know about that. It's $20. Basically, what a GFCI will do is it protects near any kind of water, so it instantly trips here and you don't have to worry about 110 volts and 15 amps of power going through your body before the breaker in the basement happens to pop, especially when you get out of the shower, which is right here, and you happen to be with a hairdryer standing in a pool of water or something, right? I mean, these things are put into place for a reason. Shower, stall, I mean, I wouldn't really do anything with this, although if it was a reno, and I'm not sure, I probably would have put a light in there because there's like no light in here except over there. That would be my only comment. Not that necessary. Like, we're not trying to over renovate. That's the other thing. So we've got this kind of weird, okay, so I missed this room coming down. So I went into the rec room, came around, walked through the bathroom. So this is another bedroom that happens to have access to its own bathroom. And then that bathroom happens to have access to the living room. So this is a really, really nice feature down here. Again, same theme. Okay, we have the old trim and then everything white. Now, this is interesting. If this is a bedroom, we've got bars on the windows. Okay, are these removable? They don't look like they are. Normally, removable bars are going to have a pin that's on the inside, maybe away from something like that. So at least here in Manitoba, we have something called egress. Okay, egress is the ability to exit out of a room. And it has to be a certain size window, which this is definitely. I think it's supposed to be like 1.5 by 2 feet. It's a square footage calculation, but you have to be able to get out. So it could have been a homeowner that lived here and put the bars, definitely, because I mean, this is a bedroom and it's kind of freaky, but at the same time, now you can't get out. So now this is actually against fire code, 100% against fire code, unless I'm seeing any kind of quick release brackets. Again, you can buy these things at Home Depot. So this is definitely a liability. We're going to be letting the owner know about that. Okay. Now, this had bars on it, but let's go back into the living room. And I think this one has bars on it. Okay. So bedroom, not okay with bars. Living room, completely fine. Because bedroom and sleeping areas, again, in Manitoba, Canada, has to have an ability to escape from the bedroom. All right, we have another bonus room down here. And this is your laundry. Looks okay. I mean, again, it's a brand new renovation, floor, paint, everything. I looked in there just to see if there's any kind of chips or anything. This looks fine. You've got your laundry hoses here, braided hoses. These look older. Probably get rid of those. I mean, they don't really need to be here. Okay, but other than that, this is a great bonus room. For me, if I'm already putting shelves here, these are kind of pointless, I'm sorry, right? Now this one, I practically almost hit my shoulder coming through here. You already got a shelf here. If you're gonna use any kind of space here, here's a natural nook. For me, other than the switch being here, and there's nothing wrong with the switch being here with open shelving, I probably would have extended shelving all the way. And now this becomes an extra storage because there's not a lot of storage in this house because just the way it's not a typical basement. This is like a four level split. Okay. All right. So we have one other, this is probably just a closet. We actually have a basement or a sub basement. Let's go downstairs. Okay. So extra little bonus area. So these are typical of what you might find in windows of this era. Obviously, somebody's done some kind of renovation to have those other bigger windows. But again, that's why they put the bars on there. Now, I know that there's no light down here, but if we crouch down, you can actually see this is how a 4-level split is, where you actually have crawl space on the bottom level. So you can see that we actually had 4 levels there. And this is really good for storage. Like there's a light bulb there. I could probably find a switch and show you what that looks like, but I think the camera can capture it. So really, really good extra area. If we move into this area, looking around for a switch. Could just be that this light bulb is out. But anyways, the mechanical room, we've got a relatively new hot water tank. And for those of you who haven't seen these, this is really cool. So what are we looking at here? We have a gas line. So this is a gas hot water tank, but instead of a traditional chimney, it's called a power vented hot water tank, which is really cool, which is very similar to the new high efficient furnaces that you see. So there's no chimneys. This can go vented outside on the side of the house. Very modern, very efficient. So again, there's nothing really to say or do here. Breaker panel that we have in the corner. Apologize for not having much light down here. And then obviously just different security apparatuses, but breaker panel, which is good. I see the word AC here. Probably there's going to be an AC unit outside. Speaking of outside, let's go check that deck out. All right, so we're going to check out the outside. I believe I saw some water features back there. So kind of nice that this... So I had a kind of weird look on my face because we've been in this house for I don't know how long, and I opened this one door and I hear the alarm starting to go off and give its 30-second countdown. Again, I don't know who installed the alarm, but when we came in the front door, it didn't go. So for whatever reason, this is the only door that's hooked up to the alarm, which is kind of like, what's the point, right? So we'll take that up with the owner. Anyhow, we have a backyard here. And a door that's not quite fitting properly, but I mean, it's good. It's good enough for what we're talking about here. When it breaks, it breaks. All right, so this is nice. We have a deck, we have a backyard that goes all the way down to this lake. I do know already that we've had several concerns from prospective tenants with young kids that this isn't fenced. Now, does the owner have to put a fence in? No, it's not a swimming pool. Should they put a fence in? Yes, right? Or this is only going to attract adults. Now, this is a great area. There's schools nearby. So you have to be thinking as an investor, what do I want to do with the space? How much is it going to cost for me to put chain link here? And now you can sit on your deck, watch your kids inside the fence, and still have the view of the lake. That's what I would do. I think the fence here might be a couple $1,000s, maybe even less. There's only 2 sides. So that's something that I've already spoken to the owner, and they're not really willing to. So again, it's the owner's decision. But if you own this property and it is a rental property for you, and hopefully if you're burring it for a very long time, I would just put the fence in. Because you want to attract a family, and the family unit, to me, is the most stable that you're going to get. And if you think about it from the turnover and trying to attract, professional adults over 18, 21 years old, wherever you happen to be, to me, I want a family in here, 3-5 years. Maybe you can go to the elementary school down the road, then the middle school and the high school, and maybe they're here for 10 or 15 years. Definitely worth it to invest in the fence. But the deck is nice. Oh, except this, I spoke too soon. So, okay, so we got a rotted part here. You can maybe close in on that. And then, I could see this, but it's actually like turning to dust. Like I can actually put my whole 2 fingers in there, right? So I probably within a year, I'm going to fall through this, right? Not great. And then of course you got the lattice here. Now, when we talk about lattice, I mean, this stuff, it could be put back up, but it's already broken. This is the plastic lattice, which isn't very expensive. Anyhow, overall, really good property. A few little mistakes probably made by a rookie investor trying to save and cut corners. You have to remember when you're doing a project like this, it's all about the refi. It's all about the refi. So all of those little things that I notice, that a tenant's going to notice, an appraiser's going to notice. So that's my biggest advice here. Look at the little details and you're going to get it back on the refi. Other than that, really solid property. And this is going to be probably in this investor's family for years to come. Thanks for watching today.